Hi guys, and welcome to CF Awareness Day 18. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about lung sounds, and I guess it doesn't, these don't only pertain to CF, obviously. But I thought I'd just do a quick video on the different noises that our lungs can make, because it can be interesting. So before we get into lung sounds, I want to tell you something kind of, I guess, interesting. And most of you probably already know this, but I just kind of wanted to throw it out there, because why not? So, the left lung only has two lobes. It has an upper and a lower lobe. And the left lung is a little bit smaller than the right lung. The right lung has three lobes. It's got an upper, a middle, and I'm not sure the exact science, I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Middle, upper, middle, and then lower. And so the right lung is a little bit bigger, and it has three lobes compared to the left, which has two. Now, my right lung is my bad lung. It's the one that has most damage from CF. My left lung is my healthy lung. It has least damage from CF, but they're both impacted, obviously. It's just over time, I have gotten more intense infections in the right one, so the right one has had more damage done than the left one. So obviously there is the normal breath sounds, and I was going to try, or I did try, to film with my microphone through a stethoscope, but it didn't work. Surprise. So, unfortunately I can't really show you, but it's kind of like, if you imagine a balloon being blown up or something like that, like a whoosh of air and then a whoosh of air out. It's a very repeated, just air noise. So that's kind of, you could also like Google search this, but that's kind of what a normal breath sound would sound like. So one thing that I have a lot of is crackles, which I did video this, and you'll be able to hear it here in a second, because it was loud enough you could hear it just from breathing. But crackles can indicate fluid, or in our case, mucus in the lungs, and what you're hearing is kind of like, I think what you're hearing is the air passing through the mucus. Either that or is the mucus shifting. I'm not exactly sure which one, but you're basically just hearing these crackling noises. And the best way I can describe it when you're listening to this video that's coming up next is it's that sound that sounds like pop rocks going off. That's the best way I think of it. It's like the sound that pop rocks make when they go off, but a milder version. There's also wheezing, which I don't have, thankfully, but wheezing comes from inflammation or a narrowing somewhere in your airway. It can come from your throat, like if you were having an anaphylactic reaction. It can come from your throat, or it can come from farther down from your lungs, and it can come from bronchospasms. And a wheeze sounds like somebody blowing a shrill whistle. So if you imagine like a whistle noise, that's what a wheeze would sound like. And I actually take albuterol, which is right here. I take it in a puff form, so I just press this. Albuterol comes through here and comes out, and I breathe it through there. And I do that before I do my treatments, because I have some medications that, if albuterol is not taken beforehand, they can cause bronchospasms and wheezing. So, I take albuterol to prevent that, but that's kind of what a wheeze is like. And to clarify what a bronchospasm is, because I realized that I didn't, it's a sudden contracting of the muscles and the bronchioles of our lungs. So the bronchioles are the things that are connected to the alveoli, or however you pronounce that, that help transport oxygen. So if you imagine that this is your bronchiole and it's open and it's happy and it's you know, doing its thing, letting air go through, a bronchospasm would be like it narrows and it constricts so that it's smaller, and it makes it harder for air and stuff to pass through. So that's my demonstration to help you kind of understand it better. And the last thing is diminished lung sounds. I'm sure there's many more lung sounds out there, but these are the ones that I know of. And diminished lung sounds come from either air or fluid or something blocking as much airflow from getting through. So diminished basically means if you take a normal breath sound, you can't hear it as well, and that's because there's like not as much airflow. That's my understanding. And for me, what can happen over time with CF from the damage is we can get these damaged areas of our lungs where they become basically chronically diminished. And so I have one in my right upper lobe right here that is diminished and is always that way, and it's kind of crackly too. And that's just from back in 2014 when I got really, really sick. It just got permanently damaged. Now, it doesn't impact me at all. I don't even notice it. My only people that notice it are my doctors because they hear it. But that's basically what a diminished lung sound is. It's harder to hear, and it's because there's not as much airflow getting through. So that's all I got for CF Awareness Day 18. I hope that this was helpful to you guys. I'm not an expert by any means, but I do know the basics of it. And I hope that I was able to answer your question. I did my best. And those are the interesting noises that lungs can make. So, and you don't want to hear them making except for the normal sounds. So, good for normal sounds. We want those. But, thank you guys so much for watching, and that's all I got.